Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Friday, the 4th day of April, 2025. It is Friday of the 4th week of Lent. It is the 27th day of the Lenten season. And as you can see, I am not in Raleigh today. Behind me is the Basilica of the Shrine of the Immaculate Conception, the church with the longest name in the world. I'm here at the campus of Catholic University because the Alumni Association is meeting today. And so I am there. I'm one of their national chaplains. And so I get to be here because the other guy can't make it. so somebody has to do mass and things like that. So that's what I'm doing for the Alumni Association of Catholic University today. So it is cloudy here. It's a little bit rainy. It still is just as humid as it is in Raleigh and things like that. So not much changes when you go like about 200 miles north or something like that from where we are. But the campus is looking lovely again, as it is, and always again having the shrine as a backdrop is kind of nice too, and doing one of these things. So. But our readings for today. Okay, so again, the animosities between Jesus and the scribes and Pharisees are continuing to grow and eventually to explode, and things like that. And so we have wisdom as our first reading today, in which basically wisdom recounts those who do not see what God is placing in front of them and do not see as God sees. And so the one who becomes a bother, the one who becomes a nuisance, the one who reminds Israel of what it should be and what it must be, the one who challenges Israel to not fall prey to personal understandings or to agendas or to misconceptions about its relationship with God. That kind of person is somebody that at least leadership in Israel and perhaps others in Israel did not want to have around. So again, this great persecution narrative about getting rid of the one who causes us to think differently, getting rid of the one who chastises us, getting rid of the one who challenges our decisions and what it is that we're trying to do. And if we get rid of this one, everything will be fine. If we get rid of this person who's making our lives uncomfortable because of what he says or what she says and what they are doing and practicing, but then all the better, to have our life back the way that we want it to be, the way that our life should be. And that's where the problem lies, is again, it's not always what we want, and it's not always what we think is comfortable that demonstrates our faithfulness and God's will for us and our ability to follow out that will that God has for us. And so this passage ends, again, that these wicked people did not understand the hidden counsels of God and did not understand what God was doing in sending these people who were speaking for God about the necessity to wake up, the necessity to grow up in faith and our understanding of our relationship with God and with one another and with ourselves. If we fail to do that, then we basically we just spin in circles and nothing gets accomplished, nothing gets done, and we live a lie. We live a terrible, awful lie about ourselves and about God and about our future and our destiny. In John's Gospel today, again, Jesus is not in Jerusalem, but he's kind of walking around Galilee because Jerusalem, he says that they want to kill him there. But then the Feast of Tabernacles is there, Sukkot, again, the old harvest festival that becomes now a great symbolism of God's plenitude and God's graciousness, to the people. And so Jesus kind of travels to Jerusalem now to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. And it says that he goes there with his brothers. And again, who are these people? These are relatives. These are not disciples. Scripture scholars will say, are they blood brothers from Mary and Joseph otherwise? Again, it's never ever very clear. We can say that they're cousins, but again, that's kind of a cop-out maybe. So we have to make sure, again, to understand how God works is not the way that we might think God should work, or what might make us comfortable is not the way that God works. Because again, this whole idea of asking someone to bear the Messiah would not be considered something that would be profitable or logical, again, for many people in Jesus' time as part of the Hebrew Scriptures. But this is what God does, and God continues to do this all the time to surprise us. Well, the Pharisees and the scribes, Jesus is preaching in the temple, and again, they don't like what he has to say, and again, we know where you come from. It's often said we won't know where the Messiah comes from. Well, who said that? Again, it's not any kind of prophecy or anything else like that. But again, you might not know who the Messiah is. You might not know that the Messiah doesn't fit in well with your expectations, and yet something is happening here, and a different way of thinking, a different way of acting is going on. Again, this great question, who do we want God to be? How can we make up our mind about God? Again, as we move into these last weeks of Lent, that question looms large because it helps to answer our question of why it is that we continue to believe at all. We really can't answer that question until we understand this God whom we believe in. And if we keep going back and forth and trying to make this God into something that this God is not, we will never believe in anything. And we will never accomplish anything. And our lives will be all the worse perhaps because of it. God offers us a new way of seeing, a new way of believing that isn't what is customary or isn't what is expected or isn't what we think, is right and proper. And yet God doesn't have to do what we do. We must do what God does, always and everywhere. A blessed continuation of the season of Lent. St. Francis and people of God, may the Lord, and from Washington, D.C. and Catholic University, may the Lord give you his peace.